stop, stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle who throws hits around.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. So excited today, but I must begin with thankfulness. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed to Wind Down with Kev, who followed us on YouTube. And if you like the content that you're seeing and receiving, please click on the link below and subscribe. Also, before we begin, must give a huge shout out and a thank you to our two sponsors, Carol Media and Canopy Connect. Talk to them for all of your social media and digital needs. That being said, let's continue the journey of talking to 50 agents from 50 states and doing 50 podcasts. Today is no different. Today, I bring to you a wonderful agent from guess where? My home state of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, this agent I'm going to bring on stage next, absolutely awesome. She is a $1 million roundtable winner, top of the top, honoring winner, national conference, top partnership in the state. Beyond that, she's a wonderful woman, wife, and mom, and someone who I'm happy to call my friend. Put your social media hands together for Jessica Guay. Welcome, Jessica. Hey, Jessica, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, and thank you for joining on the podcast all the way from Rochester, New York. That's where I went to college, RIT, so I have nothing but love for Rochester. How is life in Rochester today?
Life is cold.
Life is cold.
Yes. I am a sunshine girl, so this is tough for me every day, but I can deal with cold. I
love it. We got snow last week. We don't have any snow on the ground today. It's still melting. How about you? Snow on the ground?
Oh, snow on the ground. Yes. Ice, snow, boot weather, but
I love it. Well, snow on the ground is one of the things that makes doing insurance interesting in Rochester. I've been gone from school for way too many years to talk about, but I still remember the hills. I remember the ice and the snow. It has to be amazing to sell insurance there because your local expertise is so important. But let's start right at the top. Tell me what you love about being an Allstate agent and tell me how you got into the business.
all right. Well, there's so many things I love about being an Allstate agent. One is connections with agents like you. Being able to collaborate with agents across the country, learn from each other, support each other. We really have our own little community. So I love that. Love the relationships. I love the relationships that I'm able to have with my customers and people in the community. So really being able to give back and just be a part of the community, sponsor teams, fundraise for different organizations. Allstate gives us a great platform to be able to give back. And when it's something that's ingrained in the philosophy, it's really easy to build on. So
I love that answer, giving back to the community. But Jessica, you come to Allstate from an interesting background.
Yeah.
You were a kindergarten teacher. How does that happen? How did Allstate find you? How did you make the transition?
Well, so yeah, I was a kindergarten teacher for 13 years. Absolutely loved my job. Love everything about being in the classroom. But it was probably like 2017. One of our really good friends kind of approached us and was just like, hey, I'm moving to Texas. I have this agency. Jessica, I think it would be great for you. I would love to be able to leave and go to Texas and know that my customers are going to be taken care of. My husband's been with Allstate since 2005. So it's just always kind of been a world that I was a part of. And so the opportunity presented itself, and it kind of was like, why not? So I went for it. It was so crazy, and it goes against every single being of my body because I am such a creature of habit. Like, I could have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch every single day, never get sick of it, be happy as can be. I am so habitual. So this really was a huge adjustment for me. So it wasn't something that obviously came natural to me. Being in the world of education, in the world of business, they're very, very different. So
Extremely
2018,
different.
yeah.
Extremely different. But I have to ask the question, and I think I
Yeah.
know who the friend is, who's a amazing agent doing extremely well in Texas right now, growing like wildfire. But I have to ask the question. It's the obvious question. And everybody is thinking that's listening to your answer. What did he see in you as a client and a kindergarten teacher that told him that you would be an awesome agent? What did he say to you?
He really it was very much more general. Just, you understand people. You're just a people person. So that's really, and I honestly, I don't know why I took the jump. It was just one of those things that it's like, I knew in my heart that I should do, I could do. So I just did it. But 2018 into 2019 were very rough years for me because I didn't believe in myself. Like, I came into a business that my mind was telling myself I have no business being a part of. You don't belong here. You don't know anything about insurance. You have this amazing staff that works for you that know so much more than you do. What are you doing here? I didn't trust myself. I didn't think that I had anything of value that I could bring to the table. So every single day was a battle within myself because I had no confidence or trust in myself. So it took a lot of soul searching. And then I realized, like, everything that made me a great teacher is what will make me a great agent. And it truly is. Once I started peeling back those layers, okay, I can learn insurance. Like, I can learn that skill. I can learn coverage. I can learn about claims. All of those were things, education I could give myself. What I didn't realize in the beginning that I had was the ability to understand people. Like, I love people. I love talking to people, and I understand personalities. Like, I have a lot of training in, like, Myers-Briggs personality training. And so it's just like in the world of education, like, my students would give me clues that I could use to help, and I could do that with my customers. Like, when I'm talking to them, they're always giving us clues. We just need to listen and actually hear what they're saying. And then we can anticipate their needs based on those clues that they're giving us. And I just love educating my customers. It's like, I really believe knowledge is power, and I can give them that knowledge. I joke with them all the time. Like, I have the really easy part. I get to educate you and explain all of this to you. You have the hard part because you have to make the decisions. So
let me jump in for a second. I love what you're saying. You gave me so many jewels right there. We could spend the rest of the podcast on this because, well, you sharing your journey, not just the fun stuff where you are today, but the pitfalls, the hard stuff in the beginning, your mind and your goals not aligning. There are agents and other small business owners listening to this podcast right now, and they're in the exact same battle. They're trying to do whatever business venture is in front of them, and every part of their being is fighting against them. Just these inches of real estate between the head. It doesn't matter what the outside world says to you or someone says to inspire, motivate you. You're with yourself all day. And when that person doesn't agree, it's not a good day. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
No. Yeah. So, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I got to go. I got to get back to the podcast.
I know.
Let me say this to you. One of the things I like to say about insurance, you're in New York State with me. Car insurance is mandatory. Banks require it if you purchase a home. Everybody has to buy insurance. Very few people have any idea at all of what they're buying. So that being said, as an insurance agent, do you still get to act as a school teacher to help people understand what they're buying, what they have, what they don't have, and really separate value from price?
Absolutely. And I think that's a lot of where understanding people comes in, because you have to know what their pain point is. Anybody, they can get insurance online. They can get insurance from somebody down the street. It's really the value that we bring is understanding their story. And in order to understand their story, you have to connect with them. They have to trust you enough to be able to tell you their story. So much about insurance is protecting somebody's assets, but
Yes.
That's not, somebody doesn't just call you on the phone and say, oh, this is what I have. Please tell me what to do with it. That's a lot of trust that's built there beforehand. So yeah, the education piece and the trust, like I am not here to sell you something. I am here to provide a service for you. And I believe so strongly that the service that my team provides, the brand that we have, and the product that we're offering are second to none. And that's what we're bringing to the table. That's what I want people to realize and understand, that yes, it's a commodity because the state requires it, but at the end of the day, this is protection and coverage that you need. And the fact that the same person that is talking to you and crafting this policy for you when you first start with us is the same exact person that's going to be on the phone with you come claim time, there's a very high level of accountability there, because the very last thing I want to do is have anybody call us at claim time and not have the coverage that they think that they have, because it clear in the beginning. So I think that's something that's very different when someone is selling something and someone is servicing. Like, we do it all. And I just want to make sure that all of our customers have exactly what they need.
You have answered my next question before I asked already. You've talked a lot about it, and I can't leave this point, so I have to come back. Last school question. What is the parallel between preparing lessons plans for a year and running a business? One of the things I always admired as a parent is walking in to a parent teachers conference with my children, kindergarten, first grade, fourth grade, sixth grade, and they start off, it's okay, the kids are good, they recognize sounds, they recognize their sight words, but at the end of the year, they'll be reading small chapter books. I'm like, okay, good luck with that. But then they do it. The lesson plan is really laid out, all 9 months of what they're going to do, the plan, the journey is going to get there. How is that paralleled in business? That experience of lesson plans, especially first impression kindergartens, how has that showed up in business planning? We're in the month of January, so you and I are working on our 2025 business plans. What's been the parallel between those two?
It's January is September in school, so knowing where you want to be, you're always working with the end in mind and then working backwards. So business planning in January, I know where I want to be December 31st.
Yes.
And so it's taking where I want to be, working that into months, working that into weeks, working that down to days. Just like in kindergarten, it's like, I know I wanted my kids reading at a level E reading level, and you always shoot a little bit higher than where you want to be, just because you want to show the most amount of growth that you can, and then you work it back. You always start with the end in mind, work backwards, and that plan is always written in pencil. Like, big picture what the plan is, but to be successful, you have to be adaptable. You cannot come in every day and be like, okay, this is what my plan said. When it was January 4th, I said on March 18th, this is what was going to happen. This is what I have to do. It's like, we just have to be able to adjust and adapt and just kind of reconfigure, just like in kindergarten. I would always have the plan for the day, but something comes up, something happens, and not being so pigeonholed into what this plan is to lose sight of the big picture, because it's always the end in mind.
Bruce Lee said, be like water. Sometimes we have to be very fluid in business. So right now, there's a school teacher, someone working in another job, listening to this, that knows you and loves you already. And they want me to ask you, Jessica, how hard is it to get into the insurance business? Maybe a job as an LSP, maybe they want to own and operate an agency. How hard is it to get a license in New York State? Do they have to go to college to do it? Can they do it online? How hard is it to get started?
To get started, it's just like anything else in life. It's really easy to not do it, but it's also really easy to just take the first step. So you can do it online. You can get your license. Getting the actual certifications and the education to be able to get into insurance is really very easy.
Okay. And I think it's pretty inexpensive, maybe a couple of $100 investment, and maybe a week to 3 weeks of studying, depending on what license that they would like to get. And they're licensed. And would you agree with this statement? Pretty much all of us as agents are looking for licensed people at all times. So we're actively welcoming new people into the business.
Yep. And it's so great now. There are so many different programs to educate you to become an insurance salesperson. And they really take into consideration any modality. Like, you can listen, they have the audiobooks, they have flashcards, they have the actual written book, they have video learning. So it really doesn't matter. Like, a lot of times I've had people that say, I'm really not a very good test taker. I'm terrified to take the test. I don't think that I'm going to pass. And it's like, truly, that's just a mindset. Like, this is not something from high school that, you had a global teacher that said you're a horrible test taker, and now you've taken that to heart, and for the rest of your life you think you're a horrible test taker. Like, that's not the case.
You don't accept it. So, Jessica, I love it. I see the school teacher in you and the business person in you coexisting very comfortably right now in a wonderful. Hey, Ray, what's up? I'm in the middle of shooting a podcast here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I'm talking to a couple of my guys. They're struggling with all this new stuff, man. It's taking them 20, 30 minutes to fill out a quote sheet.
That's way too long, man. I think we can help.
You sure, man? They're trying to do different stuff. They're trying to do like X-Day campaigns. They're cross-selling. They want to follow with people they meet at networking events.
Yeah, well, Canopy Connect, you just send them a link. What is that? You can text it to them. You can put it on your business card as a QR code, scan that up, and all they have to do is click on that link, find their carrier, their insurance carrier, and sign into it. And we're going to go in and grab all the information you need to get a quote, all their policy information, their deck pages, drivers, vehicles, and enrich that with property data. We get all that stuff, right? So you don't have to spend 30 minutes on the call. It's all easy.
Well, shut the front door. Enough said. Guys, you heard it right here. Stop going old school. Use Canopy Connect. Thanks, Ray. I got to get back to the podcast.
Got it. See you.
So you've mentioned mindset. What's your morning routine? How do you get into this confident mindset to be able to run a business? How do you get there every day? Do you have a certain morning routine that you stick to?
I just started. So I've always been a morning person. Love the mornings. I just think there's, solitude, a great way to start your day. So I've always just thought like, oh, I'm a morning person. This is a great morning routine. But I realized there really wasn't a routine. So I just started reading this book, actually, Miracle Mornings.
Okay.
And it goes through the SAVERS acronym. So it's silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And so the author outlines doing each one of those for 10 minutes. So sometimes I can do that for 10 minutes. Sometimes it's only 5 minutes, and that's totally fine. But what I found is that because I'm so intentional with each one of these aspects of my morning, I am left with just a sense of accomplishment that I never had before. Like, even if I have always done things like this, but the fact that I'm so intentional every single morning, I'm a perfectionist. I very rarely feel accomplishment in my life because I never feel like I'm doing anything good enough. Nothing's ever enough. So this has really given me a sense of accomplishment and confidence that's kind of spilling over into other areas that I never really anticipated, or I didn't think that would be a byproduct. I really just thought this would be something, it's going to set me up for success. I'm going to have a really positive morning. And if I can start the day with positivity, that's enough. But it really is so much more. I think it's the intention behind it. And I very much am a person like the scribing piece. I know journaling is so important, but I have a roadblock there for some reason. So the exercise that I do is yoga in the morning. So what I do is now I just have my journal right next to my yoga mat. So as soon as I finish my exercise, it's like, there's my journal. So It's like that visual trigger. It's like, there's no way you can walk away from this without journaling.
If you want something to be a habit, you have to make it easy. So having it there is the reinforcement that this is a new habit. So run through the SAVERS acronym one more time. So the book is Miracle Mornings.
Yeah.
First one is solitude.
Silence,
not just silence, so you can hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Second one, affirmations.
Yes. So it's so funny. Again, so the first three, silence, affirmations, and visualization. I do all three of those things before I even get out of bed.
Love
So
it.
it's like, and again, I'm a visual person. So right on my phone, I have the widget of my meditation app. So it's like, as soon as my alarm goes off, that's the first thing I see is that big widget. And it's like, before any other thought comes in my mind, it's like, I just press that and go.
And you're ready. So silence, affirmation, visualization, exercise.
Visualization,
We've covered that. You're doing yoga. The last one, S, is scribing. What's the R?
reading.
Reading. Huge.
Yep. So, and I've kind of taken some liberties with that and doing some audiobooks. I typically have like an audiobook and a paperback going at the same time. So depending on what I choose to do, it might be the audiobook. Yeah. And I feel like the visualization piece is huge. That
Yes.
if you talk to people, a lot of people think like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like you just visualize, like I really make mental pictures in my mind of what I want a scenario to be like. It's like, I'm sure you've read the research or the articles. It's like there was someone who was he was incarcerated, but he wanted to improve his golf game. So every single day, he didn't have a golf club. He didn't do anything. He visualized his swing every single day. And then when he was released, he had this amazing golf game,
He
all
did it
because
a
of the
million
visualization.
times.
He never picked up a club.
He did it a million times in his mind. And once he did it in practice, it was easy. So
Yeah.
let's talk about insurance in Rochester. I know Rochester because I went to school there. I know, well, you went to school in Buffalo, so you know all about lake effect snow and how high and the wind that comes with it. Talk to me about some unique experiences you've had as a local agent. And if you think of some of these disastrous claims that we had, I think last year we had some really heavy ones. Give me one story of a claim where maybe you recommended the right coverage to someone and the snow came into play and they were really fortunate that you were their agent.
Yeah. So I actually have a lot of stories of how that has happened because we believe in making sure that you have proper protection. And a lot of time, there's a lot of noise out there about what you should do to save money. And right now, that is a huge push for people. Everybody's trying to save money. So what we've been running into most is customers thinking because they have an older vehicle that they need to remove collision. And the way the auto industry has been, like maybe 10 years ago, that absolutely was a recommendation that we would have for people. But now used vehicles are holding their value so much more that you don't want to remove that collision. So we actually had a review with a customer. He was going to remove his collision. It was like a vehicle that was five years old. He just wanted to save money. He's like, I just have to save money. I don't need collision. I don't have a loan. I want to get rid of it. So we explained all of the things that could happen, why we did not think that was a good idea. Your car's holding your value. So many things could happen in the winter that you don't anticipate. So he, I think it was like 2 months later, ended up choking on a cough drop. So he was choking on a cough drop, ended up driving into a tree, totaling his truck, and it was a horrible situation, but he was just so grateful that amidst all of his injuries that he had, that he did have coverage for, he didn't have to worry about his totaled truck in saving the few dollars when he had wanted to remove collision that, we were able to advise him not to.
That's a great example of you being an incredible local guide and advisor, and the customer's the hero because he accepted that advice. If he digs his heels in, and he looks at saving 40 or 50 bucks and saves the money, he has to replace a car. And the point that you made that years ago it's different, the cost of used cars have gone through the roof. I'm dating myself, but a few years ago, the average cost of a used car was $31,000, $32,000. That's a lot of money. That's hard to write a check for. That's not my youth when you could save up a few $100s or a few thousand for a beater. There's no saving. You could save for other things, but not set aside to purchase a car. So that's huge advice. So Jessica, let's get into some fun topics. I want to talk about your digital game. You and I had a chance to share a stage back in October, the New York conference. You went from a person that was present on social media, but quiet, to one of the most dominant players on social media. And your digital game, the videos and reels you're posting, how is that impacting your business, and how is it impacting when people see you out and about in the community?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I still see myself as very behind the scenes, but love doing videos because I think it's just a really fun way to connect with customers. Insurance is boring. It's a topic people don't like to talk about. So this is kind of a creative outlet to make it a little more interesting for customers and people in my community. So it is just really funny. People will come up to me and they'll have an idea. They're like, oh, this just happened to me. Like, you totally should make a video about that. Or they'll see a video that, somebody posted in a completely different industry and they're like, oh my gosh, you have to do that. That would be so funny. Or I had a customer that just messaged me that he needed his ID cards when he was at a dealership to get a rental vehicle. And he's like, I really was so frustrated. He's like, I feel like I could have driven my truck right through the showroom. He's like, if I do that, I'll record it so I can send it to you and you can use it.
God. Oh my God.
I'm like, no, don't do that. But it's just been so cool to see this unfold and see how I can be top of mind for people, even when they're not thinking about insurance, even when they're not thinking about me. It's like they can see something and it's like, oh yes, this is totally something that I need to tell Jessica about.
So Jessica, you and I, all the agents listening to this podcast, I think we should start a major hashtag campaign. Hashtag insurance is not boring. I would argue with you and anybody. I would bet that you haven't had one boring day in the business. And I would also argue that people that work hard to buy whatever cars they buy or wherever they live, I don't think that's boring. I think it's exciting. I think that's my why. I don't have to ask this question, but would you say you have a great passion for this business and for helping people?
I do. Service is my love language. I think that's why it was, once I had my mind wrapped around this, it was truly a very easy transition because I just get to help people. I think so many times, and I know I was like this prior to getting into this field, I felt like insurance was sleazy or slimy, like I felt like a snake oil. Like I was always so proud to say, oh, I'm a kindergarten teacher. Yes. And then it's like, how am I going to say that I sell insurance?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's who you are. Like anybody can make anything sleazy if that's the kind of person you are. But the fact that, someone like yourself and all of the agents that we know and Allstate agents, it truly is about the people. It is about our customers. It is about the relationship. And it's about just making sure that they're protected properly and making it as easy as possible. So I feel like when you come at it from a place of service and wanting to help, every day is a great day because you're always part of someone's solution. And that's what I always want to do, is be part of a solution for someone.
I love it. I think when you come from a middle America background and you live in a middle America community, there's a clear understanding of how hard people work to get everything they have. And just like in the story of the gentleman, I was cringing when you were telling the story. I've never had that experience, someone choking on a cough drop to be the cause of an accident. But I have a painful personal awareness of what that would be like to try to replace a car without insurance. So I love that story. So I introduced you as a wonderful wife and mom, but I haven't asked you about your husband and your children and what activities they're into that you get to run around and do when you're not running the business. So let's talk about your family for a second.
So my husband, John, we've been married for almost 20 years, which I can't even believe.
Jessica, I have to have you get to that number faster. John's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, she doesn't remember our anniversary. So this is a live stream, but take two. Jessica, how long have you been married?
Oh my gosh. So my husband is amazing. We've been married for 17 years. They've been the most blissful years of my life.
Yes, John, hang in there. I love it. I love it.
We have two kids. They're 14 and 11. My son is they're both very active, but if you watch me on social, you will see much more of Gavin than you do of my daughter, because she thinks if she's not making a TikTok or posting it to Snapchat, she doesn't want to be a part of it. Gavin is a much better sport, so you'll probably see him a lot more. But I am in the season right now that this is all about them. They are running the show. They're both very active in sports and have very busy social lives. So really, my social life is their social life right now. And that's part of, I think, being a business owner, being a mom, being a wife, being a friend. It's people are like, how do you balance all of that?
Yes.
And I don't look at it as balance. And in my mind, if things are balanced, they're always like this. And nothing is ever like this. Nothing is ever even. Everything is always off kilter. So I think when you're a leader, and that's whether you're a leader of your household, whether you're a leader of a team, a leader of an organization, everybody is a leader. But part of what makes someone a great leader is there's all of these plates constantly spinning. Some of them are really big, some of them are small, some of them are plastic, some of them are glass. And it's being able to know, like, okay, these are my really big glass plates. I need to keep those spinning all day. And so you have to prioritize and adapt your day to make sure that those big glass plates stay spinning. If some other really small plastic ones fall throughout the day, like, that's okay. You just have to be okay with that and just know what it is that's most important at the end of the day and make sure that those are the plates that just keep spinning. So I never have balance in my life, but I hope that, my family and my team knows that those big glass plates are always going to stay spinning.
I love it. Your answer is directly out of the Stephen Covey book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, as is one of your other answers that you gave earlier, beginning with the end in mind. So I have to ask you, are you a Stephen Covey fan, and have you read the book?
No, I have not read those books. As you were saying, I'm like, I got to add them.
Oh my God. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Your answers are lockstep with everything that he said. So long story short, it's beginning with the end in mind and writing down our roles and goals. So our role as wife, mother, friend, business owner, community leader, and what's important that we have to do this week in those places, and then communicating to people. So you're right, there is no balance But what's kept me going for all of these years is I don't miss big things, right? So if there are 2 or 3 things my wife needs me for this week, I'll be there. If the kids, I'll be there. Now, during the rest of the stuff, it comes up in the middle of the day while I'm podcasting. Kevin's not there, but exactly what you said. And there are exercises. So your spinning plates example, I'll share some stuff with you that's been done other ways in other places. But you
Yes.
told a much cleaner version of that story than I've heard before. And I can't repeat that version of the story, how I've heard those.
All right. Well, I just added it to my Goodreads. So
Well,
thank
I
you.
love it. You're going to love it, and it's going to sound like that. Jessica, let's talk about your team. You have hundreds, over 1,000 ratings between your website and Google. And what I loved about your ratings, they're shouting out your agency, and a lot of very specific people in your team, they're getting named for the good work they do in your agency. Talk to me about your team and what you love about leading a team and being in a position to recruit, hire, find people, and give them this wonderful career opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I am so blessed. My team is the best. I would say that, the best in the country, but everybody thinks that, right?
You got to feel that way.
Yeah, and that's what's important. It's like when you talk about your mom, everybody has the best mom. So it's like that's how I feel about my team. They truly are an extension of my philosophy. And I think, so much of that is culture. Just like when I came into the industry, you can learn insurance. You can learn about coverage and all of that. Like you don't need to come in with that kind of background. That we are happy to teach you. It's everything else that you can't teach. It's all of those soft skills that make my team so wonderful. It's like they have empathetic hearts. They truly believe that the protection that we offer is what's most important. And, we just do such a good job of putting our people first.
Well, I love what you said. And my opinion doesn't matter. Your Google reviews and your website, it speaks for itself. So Jessica, we spent a lot of this time talking about insurance and community and your digital presence and things of that nature, your morning routine, your work day. But here's the big wind down with Kev question I like to ask everybody. How do you wind down at the end of the work day, at the end of the family day, after you've done all you can? How do you wind down?
I love just being cozy. So the minute that I can be cozy, it is like instant relief to me. So just putting on cozy PJs and being able to relax and watch a show with my husband is truly what makes me the happiest at the end of the day. So there's
what are you watching now? What are you and your husband watching now on TV? What are you streaming? What are you obsessed with right now?
Wow, there's quite a few things. So we were Landman just ended, so we were watching Landman. There's a couple Apple shows, The Shrinking. We're going to get into Bad Sisters. There's always a list going. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I definitely can relate to just that downtime. Same thing together. I'm a big rerun person, so I'm all about all of the Chicago shows, Med, PD, Fire. That's my lane. I heard about Landing. I'm not up on it yet.
Yes, I love doing that too. So I love to fall asleep to the TV being on. My husband hates it, but it's like we'll watch a show and then it's like I just need the noise in the background. So I'll put like reruns on or something that it's like it's still on, but it's like I don't have to be paying attention.
Yep, I love it. They say that helps you sleep because you can, you've seen Law and Order 1,000 times. You kind of know what's going to happen, so you drift in the story, so you drift off. So, Jessica, anything that you wanted to share that I didn't ask, insurance related, life related, encouraging word for anybody? I refer to Wind Down with Kev as the Dream Chaser podcast. I'm a dream pusher. So if there's anybody out there that listened to it, maybe a school teacher thinking that I can do this, maybe I can't. With anything you'd like to share, and if you don't have anything you'd like to share, can you share an encouraging word to get them to take the leap of faith for their next move that they would like to make?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is knowing that you truly can do anything, and it is your mindset. One of my favorite quotes is from Martin Luther King Jr. of, leap and the net will appear. So you don't, or his is the staircase, like take the next step, even if you can't see the whole staircase. That is just how you should live life. And if you can't get there, it's really just because of your mind, but your mind is a muscle. You can retrain your mind. As easy as it is to be negative, it's just as easy to be positive. We just have to slowly retrain our mind. I used to be the biggest worrier. I worried about everything and things that I couldn't control. And slowly I just retrained my mind to not worry anymore. So if you think you can't do it, you're right. If you think you can, you're right. So it's just training your mind, and it can be done.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Guay, please put some wonderful things in the comments. Follow her everywhere on social. She's Jessica Guay all over. You're going to love her videos. You're going to love her reels. She's hilarious and informative at the same time. So that being said, thank you for tuning in, watching another episode of Wind Down with Kev. If you like this kind of content, please click on the link below to subscribe on YouTube so you can get notifications of when all these wonderful podcasts are coming out. And thank you to my sponsors, to Canopy Connect and Carol Media, for making it possible. And thank you to all of you that's helping us grow in subscribers and views. Oh my God, nothing but love and appreciation for you all.